Have you ever wondered what separates the world's top achievers from everyone else? Why some people rise above challenges while others stop at the first hurdle? It's not luck. It's not just talent, it's their mindset. Today we're diving deep into the mindset of high achievers, and by the end of this video, you'll walk away with the exact mental shifts that can take your life to the next level. Imagine a world where you stop holding yourself back, where failure doesn't scare you, where every obstacle becomes fuel, and where your vision is so strong, nothing can pull you away from it. That's the mindset of high achievers. Today, we're going to spend the next minutes knowing the secrets that separate the great from the average. You'll discover the habits, beliefs, and mental shifts that world-class performers live by. And by the end of this journey, you won't just understand the achiever's mindset, you'll be ready to live it. High achievers think differently. It all begins with vision. They don't just live day by day, they see years ahead. Steve Jobs once said, "People with passion can change the world." That passion fuels vision, and vision drives action. Ask yourself right now, where do I want to be in 5 years? High achievers can already see it in their minds, even before it exists. They don't wait for opportunities, they design them, they see what doesn't exist yet. Vision isn't just about goals, it's about possibility thinking. Come, let's do a little exercise together. Close your eyes. Picture yourself 5 years from now. What are you doing? Who are you with? Where are you living? High achievers practice this daily. The best way to predict the future is to invent it, Alan Kay. Let's talk the story of Steve Jobs imagining the iPhone. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, mobile phones were ugly. They were bricks with tiny buttons, clunky antennas, and screens that could barely show a few lines of text. The height of innovation was being able to play Snake on a Nokia. But Steve Jobs, he saw something no one else did. He imagined a world where a single device would replace your phone, your iPod, your camera, your internet browser, your GPS, even your wallet. At the time, people laughed at the idea. Impossible. Phones were for calling, computers were for computing, music players were for music, cameras were for photos. The industries were separate. But Jobs had a different mindset. He asked the kind of question only high achievers dare to ask. Why not? Why not have one elegant device that puts the power of all these machines in the palm of your hand? Why not design it so beautifully that people would fall in love with it? Why not make technology feel human, personal, and even magical? While engineers, competitors, and even some of his own team doubted the idea, Jobs could already see it. In his mind, the iPhone already existed. He wasn't thinking about what technology was at that moment. He was thinking about what technology could become. That's the difference between a dreamer and a high achiever. Dreamers hope, achievers build. Jobs once said, "People don't know what they want until you show it to them." And he was right. No customer was asking for an iPhone. They wanted smaller phones with better buttons. But Jobs ignored the noise and followed his vision. For years, he obsessed over it, challenging his engineers to create a touchscreen with no stylus, a design with no keyboard, and software that felt alive when you touched it. The idea sounded crazy, but his relentless pursuit made the impossible real. And then, January 9th, 2007. On stage at Macworld in San Francisco, Jobs stood before the world in his trademark black turtleneck and jeans. With a mischievous smile, he teased the audience. Today, we're introducing 3 revolutionary products. The first one is a widescreen iPod with touch controls. The second is a revolutionary mobile phone, and the third is a breakthrough internet communications device. The crowd cheered, but Jobs repeated the list again, and then again, until the realization set in. These weren't 3 separate devices, they were one. The iPhone. That moment changed the world. What everyone else saw as fantasy, Jobs had seen years earlier in his mind. And that's the power of vision, the mindset of a high achiever. They don't wait for the future. They imagine it, and then they build it. Today, billions of people carry a smartphone. Entire industries were born because Steve Jobs imagined what others couldn't. That's the difference vision makes. That's the mindset of high achievers. Talent might get you started, but discipline keeps you going. Michael Jordan didn't become the greatest because of talent alone. He outworked everyone else in the gym. High achievers are masters of their habits. They wake up with intention, they prioritize their time, and they understand that small daily actions compound into massive results. If you want to join them, don't just set goals, build habits that align with those goals. They don't rely on motivation, they rely on routines and rituals. Success is boring consistency, doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Do this exercise after watching. Write down one small habit you'll commit to for the next 30 days. Just one. Small wins build unstoppable momentum. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit, Aristotle. Let's talk the story of Kobe Bryant's 4 a.m. training. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. The city is asleep. The streets are quiet. Most of his teammates are still in bed. But Kobe Bryant, he's already on the court. The gym lights hum as they flicker on. The air is cold, the hardwood floor still untouched, and there's Kobe, drenched in sweat before sunrise, shooting jumpers, sprinting drills, working on the tiniest details of his game. This wasn't once in a while. This was every day. Kobe believed in what he called the Mamba mentality, the relentless pursuit of being better than you were yesterday. While most players were doing 2 workouts a day, Kobe added an extra one at 4 a.m. That meant more reps, more practice, more progress. He once explained it like this: if I train 4 times a day while others train 2, by the end of a year, I'm so far ahead, it's impossible for them to catch me. And he was right. Teammates and coaches would talk about it with awe. One story comes from 2008 when Team USA trained for the Olympics. While the rest of the players showed up around 10 a.m., they found out Kobe had already been in the gym since 4, running, lifting, and shooting thousands of shots before their first workout even started. That's not talent, that's discipline, that's obsession. It's easy to look at Kobe's greatness and say he was born with it. But the truth is, greatness was built at 4 a.m. One shot, one drill, one rep at a time. That's the secret of high achievers. They do the work when nobody's watching. They embrace the boring repetition. They sacrifice comfort for greatness. Kobe once said, "Rest at the end, not in the middle." And that's exactly how he lived. Every championship ring, every record, every highlight, all of it was earned in those quiet hours when the world was sleeping and Kobe was grinding. The lesson? If you want to separate yourself from the crowd, you can't do what everyone else is doing. You have to be willing to do what they won't. Sometimes that means waking up at 4 a.m., not just to train, but to chase the best version of yourself. Kobe Bryant's 4 a.m. workouts weren't just about basketball. They were a statement that discipline, consistency, and relentless effort are what create legends. Here's a secret. High achievers fail more than the average person. Yes, you heard that right. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before creating the light bulb, but he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." What makes achievers unstoppable is their resilience. They have a different relationship with failure. They don't see it as proof they can't. They see it as proof they're getting closer. They don't see failure as the end. They see it as feedback. Every setback becomes a stepping stone. So when life knocks you down, ask, what is this teaching me? Because achievers always rise stronger. Fall 7 times and stand up 8. Japanese proverb. Let's talk the story of J.K. Rowling, rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter. Picture this, it's the early 1990s in Edinburgh, Scotland. A young woman named Joanne Rowling sits in a tiny cafe, scribbling words into a notebook. She's broke, recently divorced, and raising her baby daughter alone. Most people would have given up on their dreams, but not her. She had a story inside her, about a boy with messy black hair, glasses, and a lightning-shaped scar. A boy who didn't know he was a wizard yet. That boy's name was Harry Potter. Rowling believed the world needed to hear his story. So when she finished her manuscript, she sent it to publishers, one copy after another, and the rejections came pouring in. Too long, too strange. Children won't read something like this. One publisher even suggested she get a day job because there was no money in children's books. 12 times, 12 doors slammed in her face. For most people, that would have been the end. But J.K. Rowling wasn't most people. She believed in Harry. She believed in her story. And more importantly, she believed in herself. Finally, after countless rejections, a small publisher, Bloomsbury, decided to take a chance. But even then, they warned her not to expect much. They told her to get a second job because children's books rarely made money. But then, something magical happened. Harry Potter exploded. The first book spread like wildfire. Children who had never picked up a book before stayed up all night reading. Adults couldn't put it down. The series went on to sell over 500 million copies, become movies, and inspire an entire generation. From welfare checks to one of the best-selling authors in history, all because she refused to quit after 12 rejections. And that's the lesson. High achievers don't see rejection as failure. They see it as feedback. They know that no doesn't mean the end. It just means not yet. Rowling once said, "Failure meant a stripping away of the inessential. I stopped pretending to myself that I was anything other than what I was, and began to direct all my energy into finishing the only work that mattered to me." Her story reminds us, every rejection, every setback, every closed door is just part of the journey. Success comes to those who refuse to stop knocking. 12 publishers said no, but J.K. Rowling only needed one yes, and sometimes that's all it takes. High achievers never stop learning. They live with a growth mindset, believing they can always get better. They treat learning as oxygen, always asking, "What else can I know? How else can I grow?" While the average person says, "I can't do this," achievers ask, "How can I learn to do this?" Warren Buffett reads for hours every day. Bill Gates takes think weeks just to study and reflect. Athletes analyze their performance after every game. The lesson? Never settle. Keep growing, keep improving, keep evolving. Learn as if you were to live forever. Gandhi. Another secret of high achievers? They don't do it alone. They build an environment of excellence. They surround themselves with people who challenge them, push them, and inspire them. Jim Rohn said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." If you want to elevate your life, elevate your circle. If you want to soar, don't hang out with people who crawl. Your environment either fuels you or drains you. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Jim Rohn. High achievers don't just chase success, they chase significance. Contribution makes achievement meaningful. Muhammad Ali, fighting not just for boxing, but for justice and impact. The service you do for others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Let's talk the story of Muhammad Ali. In the ring, Muhammad Ali floated like a butterfly and stung like a bee. He was fast, powerful, and electrifying. But what made him one of the greatest achievers of all time wasn't just his fists, it was his purpose. Ali knew boxing was his stage, but justice was his real fight. In the 1960s, when racial inequality and injustice ran deep in America, Ali wasn't afraid to speak up. He declared loudly, unapologetically, "I am the greatest." But behind those words was more than ego. It was defiance. It was a young black man demanding dignity in a world that tried to silence him. He shocked the world not only with his victories in the ring, but with his courage outside of it. When he refused to fight in the Vietnam War, he said, "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong." For that decision, he was stripped of his boxing titles, banned from the sport in his prime, and threatened with prison. Most athletes would have bowed to pressure. But Ali stood firm, because for him, principle mattered more than profit. Years later, he explained, "I know where I'm going and I know the truth. I don't have to be what you want me to be. I'm free to be what I want." When he returned to the ring after years of exile, the world saw not just a fighter, but a man who refused to compromise his soul. Every punch he threw carried the weight of his convictions. Every victory meant more because it wasn't just about winning titles. It was about showing the world that purpose is stronger than fear. And Ali's impact didn't stop with boxing. He became a global ambassador of peace, a voice for the oppressed, a symbol of courage. His fight inspired movements, leaders, and everyday people to stand taller, speak louder, and believe in themselves. That's the mindset of high achievers. They don't just chase trophies, they chase meaning. They don't live just for success, they live for significance. Muhammad Ali once said, "The service you do for others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth." And by that measure, he paid his rent in full. Ali fought with his fists, but his greatest fight was with his heart. He taught the world that true greatness isn't about what you achieve for yourself, it's about what you give to others. So what have we learned? High achievers think differently. They see beyond limits, they embrace discipline, they rise after failure, and they never stop learning. But here's the truth. None of this matters unless you apply it. Achievement isn't for the chosen few, it's for those who choose it. The only question is, will you? Take one idea from today and act on it. Build one habit. Change one thought. Because transformation begins with a single step. And if this video gave you value, don't just watch and leave. Join this community. Like, share, and subscribe, because together we're building a generation of high achievers, inshallah.